Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It's finally time for a modern build using lots of platforms. This is a platform build. So after Snow Escape came out, I worked on Japanese inspired builds and I also used platforms for these builds. I also made a couple of tutorials, but this here is the first true platform build. I wanted to work on a modern build that has a heavy focus on these platforms, and in my opinion platforms are just perfect for modern minimalistic builds. You can use them for any type of build. You could also use them to have a split level garage, this kind of thing, like a true split level home. But here I wanted to just use them to the full extent, and I wanted to create a really over the top yet minimalistic mansion. And I started off by working on some stairs, and this is a method that could be done before. So we had foundations, of course, before we had platforms, and you could build foundations, leave a gap between them, and then you were able to fill the gap using the terrain tools. This is what I always did. The problem is, because of the gap that you had to fill, each step was always 2 tiles wide and not only 1 tile. So here we can directly connect them, as you can see, which is just a much better look in my opinion. So I was really happy that I was finally able to create this exact look, no gaps in between. And these stairs are already pretty big, but they would be even bigger if I had to leave a gap in between all my steps. So I was really happy with this. And I've said this a million times by now, but I'm going to say it again. You just have to make sure that there's only a height difference of 1 step. This way your Sims will be able to traverse. They can step on these steps. They are functional and they are wonderful. So they not only look good, but you don't have to attach any stairs. The only exception is the little step at the top, because technically I built the stairs on a different floor and you have to connect your platforms to the floor above, and you can do this by simply using stairs, and you just have to make sure that you delete the wall behind your stairs at the top. Otherwise it's going to tell you that stairs can't intersect walls or something like this. There's a error for this, so you always have to make sure that you just remove the wall right behind your stairs, and this is what I did here. And this way I was able to just connect everything, and then I just tried to work out the shape. I knew that I would like to have a driveway at the bottom. I'm going to place a really beautiful debug car down there, and then I just added more stuff. Here I added some columns, for example, and when you want to do this you have different options. You could simply use a wall, but I wanted to have this really unique look, so I decided to use platforms as columns. And the thing is, because as I've explained, you can't connect a platform to the level above, there's always a tiny gap between the platform, like the column platform. You can see this here, but I really enjoyed this look. Like, this was like a coincidence. I just started to work on this and then I really liked how this looked. I don't know, I think it's a great look. It looks really different. There could be, I don't know, it could be connected in the center, not really visible for us. So, I mean, it's not floating technically, so it could make sense if you know what I mean. I just really enjoyed the look, and this is why I did that. And for me, I really enjoy building modern builds, but for me, the problem is, or was, that roofing can be really challenging, because when you take a look at real life modern builds, really minimalistic builds, really over the top mansions, the roofing always has lots of different levels. There's always a split level component to it most of the time, and the problem is you can use half walls for this, but this is like never the exact same look. And here, now that I were able to use platforms, I didn't have this problem, so I could be really creative with the roofing. And this is also why I ran completely overboard. Like, this is, as I said, the platform build. This is really the build where I tried to get the most out of platforms, and this is why I used them just everywhere. They are all over the build. I also incorporated some round rods, and no other than James Turner inspired me to do that. He posted a video on his channel, like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, where he tried to build a round room using platforms, and I felt really inspired and had to instantly comment that I just love it, because you guys know I just really, really love round walls. I just love it. And here I just had to do something similar. Eventually I changed the look of this. Here you can see that technically you could enter this room like in the very center, and I think this is how James did it, but I eventually decided to get rid of this, and I just turned it into a completely circular platform. So there's nothing on the inside. It's completely solid on the inside. There's no room. So I wanted to have a completely circular platform just for the look. I mean, not really functional. I mean, the round thing itself doesn't serve a purpose. It's just a really beautiful patio. But here I wanted to have like some type of curved wall, and I turned this into something really cool in my opinion eventually, and I didn't even plan to do this, but you will see this later. I built the rooms for the actual house behind this round wall, so there are some bedrooms, or there will be some bedrooms later, and I just tried to make it work, and it all had to make sense because I had this round platform behind it and all that, so I had to make it work. And eventually I built my rooms, and then I were able to place some windows at the top, and then I built a beautiful rock garden behind it. You will see this later. So this was like, again, some type of coincidence. It just happened. So building with platforms holds lots of surprises apparently, and it was so much fun. Like really, I just thought, okay, I just use as many platforms as possible and I will have a lot of fun also on the interior, and it's amazing. Like, I'm so glad that we don't have all these limitations for modern builds anymore. It's just amazing. And at the bottom behind my platform I have a wall. This is where I placed some windows. These are from the fitness stuff pack, I think. They slightly flicker, like ever so slightly, but they were just perfect for this wall. I just had to use them. And I also decided to use a bit of wood. I wanted to have this concrete kind of look. So after building the first platforms, the default color of the platforms has this concrete look, and it looked super cool. Like, usually I build a house by just working on different sections, and most of the time I already apply a color and columns and windows. You guys know this. Like, I mean, anyone who's been watching me build knows how I usually approach a build, but here I don't know, I almost finished the whole shell before even adding a bit of color, which was really unusual, but I really enjoyed the concrete color of the platforms, and I decided that this is like the look. This is the look that I want for this mansion. And I just decided to have a bit of wood here and there so it doesn't look too boring. I mean, it would be really monochrome or something, only really one color. So I really wanted to have a bit of wood so it looks a bit more warm and inviting. This is really difficult. Like, as soon as you add too much color or too much wood or too much anything, too much details, too much decorations, it's over and you destroy the whole look. This is also why I did not add lots of decorations to the exterior at all. I really wanted this to be simple. I mean, I don't think that this is truly minimalistic. I don't think I have it in me to really build a minimalistic house because I just add too much stuff everywhere. You guys just know this. But here I just wanted to I tried to hold myself back, really, so there aren't like lots of lamps on the exterior, no plants in front of the windows, really, just some decorative plants here and there. You will see this, so I really wanted to nail this look. There was a problem that I was running into when it came to the driveway, so I wanted to build a roof. I think you even saw this like a couple of minutes ago where I was struggling. I wanted to build a roof down there, and I wanted to use the roof as a slope. This is a old trick that lots of builders use when you just want to have a driveway. It looks really cool. You can really create the look of a beautiful slope using a half-gabled roof. But the game wouldn't allow me to place a roof down there. It didn't allow me to place the roof at the very bottom inside the driveway. It only allowed me to build the roof on the lawn, so this wasn't working. So this is like a bit unrealistic. We have some cars down there, but there isn't really a slope. So I mean, the cars aren't functional either way. They're just debug cars. They're just for decoration. But if you really like realism when it comes to fake driveways, then I have to disappoint you. There is a weird step and there isn't a slope or a realistic driveway. I was really running into a couple of problems with that, and I don't know if this is a bug or if there's like a reason why I wasn't able to place a roof down there. I have no idea, but I have to say platforms are generally perfect for roofing. I said this in my Japanese speed build, in my last speed build. It's really amazing when you want to have different roofs or fences on your roof, basically, so you can just combine different heights and levels. It's just wonderful. There's a trick. I also have a tutorial for this where you can use a half wall and then you can place a roof on top. But now it's so much easier. We can do so many things, and I'm really happy, especially when you want to use some flat roofs, just like I did here. Perfect for modern builds, and generally such an easy way to have a really complex roofing without a lot of work. Here you can see that I'm running into a couple of problems. Whenever I try to close the section using a half wall, it would completely change the height of the platform. In my last speed build, I was only ranting about some bugs and glitches. This time it's different. I only had this small issue. I eventually just decided to not close off the half wall, and I had a disappearing floor again, but only at the very top in the roof, and it was only visible when I panned the camera at a certain angle. So this didn't affect the house itself. So I think for now we all agree that we have to live with these bugs. It's just part of the game right now until the next patch comes out. So I don't know, but I was really lucky with this build. Like for my last build, I was really close to just quit and to start over and build something else. But here it was really smooth and a lot of fun actually. And then I wanted to decorate the round patio, and I used the Get Famous Pristine pedestal, a famous object on this channel. I like to use the white swatch mostly, but here, because I wanted to have this color scheme, I decided to use gray, and I just sized it down and I placed it all around the round shape. And if you want to do this yourself, make sure to switch to the Sims 3 camera. Hold down Alt on your keyboard, hold your left mouse button, and then when you move your mouse you can freely rotate objects, and this way you can just arrange them in a way so you have like a circular fence. This takes a bit of practice, but it's really easy actually. Oh, and make sure to activate the Move Objects cheat. I always forget to mention this cheat. Even for some tutorials, I forgot this in the past because it's always activated by default for me. So I sometimes forget that there's even a life without this cheat. I always use it, and I've activated all my cheats by default. I don't know if you guys would be interested in a small tutorial for this using MC Command Center, but I think it's really convenient if you're building a lot to activate all cheats by default. It's really amazing. I can totally recommend it. So if you guys are interested, I can make a small video here. I can make a small tutorial on Twitter, I don't know, wherever you want. So this could be fun, I guess. And then I started to work on the back as well. I also wanted to have some columns, so a part of the build is kind of floating. I raised the terrain below so it's not like completely floating, and then I decided to just build some columns below, so just like support beams or something. I thought it would be more realistic and look great. And then I wanted to remove a part of the floor on the inside. I also wanted to have some columns using platforms. And there's a small glitch that I noticed when I was taking screenshots. So I totally forgot about this one. It's not bad. This is why I didn't mention this earlier, but I just remembered. So this is like I have this half wall and a hole, as you can see, and both rooms are fully closed at the bottom and the top. You will also see this when I'm furnishing. So no problems here. But as soon as I press tab to go into the free camera, when I wanted to take screenshots from the inside, the windows were completely invisible, like as if there wasn't a window or wall, like a completely confusing, weird visual glitch. I don't know. It's not visible when you are playing, like when you don't like go into the house by pressing tab in live mode. You won't notice this. It's just another weird glitch because of the platforms, I guess. Not a big deal. You don't see it while I'm working on the build here. You won't notice it while playing in this house, but I just wanted to mention it because this was confusing. And I just wanted to connect everything at the top using more platforms, and I'm really happy with how this turned out because I was afraid that it's like all over the place, too many platforms, and this was kind of my main goal, as I said, the platform build, as many platforms as possible, so many different levels, there's so much going on. But I feel like for this type of architecture, for this style, you can't go wrong with all these different levels and platforms. And I also wanted to have a pool in the back. I again used a platform just to lower the pool a bit. So below the platform is a foundation because you can only build pools on foundations, which makes me really sad. This is like one thing that could be really game changing if we could build pools on platforms. There would be so many possibilities, but we can. So I have a foundation at the bottom where I built the pool, and then technically the platform just goes around it. But it looks really cool because it's like a sunken pool. And at the top there's like some type of really fancy balcony, and I also decided to have a walk garden over there. From the outside, you just see the windows. It's a wall that I just built between my platform columns, and then I just used some windows, and I just wanted to decorate the area at the top, and I used the Discover University sofas to have this type of corner sofa. This is just a really fancy balcony, just like a roof terrace where you can just hang out and chill. I tried to have a really modern and simple garden and balcony, so there isn't a lot of stuff going on. I used some equalized study block rocks just to have this look. They have a really realistic texture, which is just perfect for this look. And I think this wallpaper that I used both in the exterior and interior is actually maybe part of the base game. I'm not sure. And it has this perfect concrete look, just exactly what I was going for. And as you can see here on the inside, I also used lots of platforms. I wanted to have this look, and I thought it would be so boring to work on a platform build and to label it as such, and then you only have lots of platforms on the exterior. So here I also used it to have some stairs. When you use platforms like this, you might run into the problem that your door is kind of floating because you have a raised platform on the exterior where you placed your stairs, and then on the inside there's like something missing. And in this case, you also just have to add some platforms, which is what I did right in front of the doors. And I used the same method that I used on the outside to have these steps. And this here is a really fancy bathroom, and I have no idea how I even thought of this. Like this, I had this weird room and there were some stairs, and then I figured, oh my god, this could be the most weird bathroom, and it could totally work because it's so modern and out of the ordinary that it could make sense for some reason. And I used this wall decoration, sized it up just so I would have some type of room divider made out of glass, so just for the shower. And it's like a really crazy bathroom, but I really love how this turned out. And you can see that I really tried to have a really unconventional interior, really modern, really monochrome. It's like definitely not the cozy type of interior. It's like really, really over the top, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And it again showed me that we can do so much things using platforms. Here I wanted to have a fancy bookshelf and just platforms. Again, I created some steps so the Sims are able to walk up there and use the bookshelf, and I just had to fill the space. This is like a really fancy hallway. Your Sims can use the stairs below. They walk up and then they just enter this hallway area. This house isn't super huge. There are 3 or 4 bedrooms. I'm not even sure right now, but it's not super huge, I can tell you. I used a lot of the space for the hallway. It's really spacious, so there aren't lots of bedrooms. And I started off by just furnishing the floor at the top, which is what I never do. I always start to work on the kitchen, I feel like, or the living room. But here, for some reason, because I really, really enjoyed the hallway at the top and the whole idea behind it, I started to furnish there. So this is like weird. This is like the first build where I finish the whole shell at first, and then I start to furnish at the top. This is like a really weird build, I feel like. And this is one of the bedrooms. I also used platforms, of course. I actually had to, because as I've just explained, sometimes you use platforms on the exterior and you add a door, and then there's like this weird step, so you have to fill in the area using platforms. So this is what I did. Also, again, really over the top and weird and unconventional, and this is exactly what I was going for. And the cool thing is, once you decide to just build something that's a bit out of the ordinary, there are no rules. You can just do whatever you want. I mean, you can generally do this. This is what I always say, just build what you like. Don't just stare at pictures of real life houses if you don't feel like it. Just build what you want. I mean, there's nothing wrong with recreating real life houses. I really like this actually, but I feel like some people just want to have some fun and be creative, but they are so hung up on the idea of having to recreate real life houses, what's realistic, what looks good. But I feel like in this game, sometimes you never know what looks good. Like sometimes you look at a picture of a house and you think, oh my god, such a beautiful house. It totally works in real life. Like, this is a beautiful house, but it totally doesn't work in The Sims, like the shape and just everything. So this is why I just thought, okay, no rules, I just do whatever I want here. And this is the kitchen finally. So I used some cool kitchen stuff cabinets, and I built a wall in front of the wall, so I was able to attach the cabinets at the wall, like from the other side, so you can here see the back of the cabinet, which is like really modern. When you look at these hyper modern kitchens, this is like exactly the look. Like, this is, I don't know, you don't see anything. You just have these doors. They don't even have door handles most of the time. You can just push at them, then they open up, this kind of thing. So this is the look that I was going for. And of course, I also had to incorporate some platforms into this kitchen. So I built some platforms right behind the counters and also in the center of my island counters. And I used some half walls, so I wanted this to be really over the top. You can here see that we have some stairs right behind the island counter. I eventually moved them to a different place, to the other wall, because they were kind of in the way, and I really liked the position of the kitchen and the kitchen in general, so I just figured I would just move the stairs and the doorway. This was much easier, and I really like how it turned out this way. And I decorated this a lot. I wanted to keep it simple, as I said, but at the same time, when you don't add a bit of clutter to a kitchen, it doesn't really look really good most of the time. And what I really like is you can place stuff on top of your platform, so you can use it as some type of shelf almost. So we have the counters going all around the kitchen, but then because of the platforms, I was able to have a bit of clutter here and there, and I was left with this weird nook on the right side, and I eventually decided to just turn it into an area for a bar, so your Sims can just hang out there and have a drink maybe. And you can place bars like this in front of a wall. You don't have to place them the other way around, so you are able to place some bar stools right at the bar. You can do it this way and it's still functional. And because I didn't have a little space left in this corner, I decided to do it this way. I just placed some armchairs so your Sims could sit down, and then I had this area here, and this technically is an outdoor area because I sized up some windows and placed them there, so there is no wall. These are just sized up windows. This is also where the light will be always outdoor light. In this specific area, we just placed the dining table, so this is like the outdoor dining area or something, and it looks really fancy. And then I also had a weird area below my stairs, and I also decided to just turn it into an office. And furnishing this was like really weird, really fun, but also weird. The whole floor plan was all over the place. I feel like, I mean, there isn't even really a floor plan. I mean, as you saw here, I didn't even build a wall so far, really. I just built different things like a kitchen, and I just filled the space, really random. And then I had this area. This is the area where you just saw the hole above, where I talked about the weird glitch. And I just wanted to have just a armchair or whatever this is, maybe a small sofa, I don't even know, just a beautiful area where you sit. I wanted this to be a bit more bright and friendly and happy. I used lots of grays and blacks for this build, but then I also want to have a bit of white here and there, just so I have a bit of a contrast color wise. And this is the living room. I used the same trick that I used in the kitchen, where I placed the cabinets on the wall, so I have the back of the cabinet in the front. This looks like a really fancy just TV area, and I wanted to have a just something behind my cabinets. There was a weird gap, I think, and then I used a wall decoration from Dine Out. I placed it right behind my cabinets. This is really dark and gloomy, but I figured it looks so cool. It makes it almost look really realistic because of the light. I don't know, the way the light shines on the cabinets, it just worked out perfectly. Really dark and gloomy, but for some reason I really liked how this looked. I don't know. You can always add more lamps to this if you feel like it's too dark and gloomy, but I really enjoyed this type of look. I also added a fireplace, lots of platforms again, and at this point I just really had to fill the space using decorations, and this was like really confusing because I kind of have this huge living room, but I decided to have this relatively small TV area, like the sofa and the TV, and there was so much space left still, but I really enjoyed how the whole cabinet thing looked like, so I just placed a piano over there and called it a day. And this is it. This video is slowly coming to an end. Here you can see some screenshots. I hope you enjoyed this build and video. The build is available in the gallery. You can find all the information down below in the description box. There you can also find the link to the KateEmerald community Discord in case you want to hang out. You can check out the link. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!